For Native American Heritage Month, Gwinnett County Public Library is celebrating works by Native American authors and creators. In Part 1, we highlighted a variety of new and acclaimed stories for kids. In Part 2, we'll talk about some great books and movies for adults and teens. We'll start with books aimed at readers who are in middle or high school. Hunting by Stars by Cherie Dimaline is the post-apocalyptic tale of French, a 17-year-old boy imprisoned at a residential school. Indigenous Americans are the only people who still have the ability to dream, and others want to take his bone marrow to cure themselves. Can he figure out how to escape before it's too late? A fantasy story inspired by Navajo legends, Rebecca Roanhorse's Race to the Sun tells the story of Nizoni, a 12-year-old with the ability to see monsters disguised as regular people, including her father's new boss. Her father's disappearance takes her on a journey through the spirit realm to get the weapons needed to slay an army of monsters. Longlisted for the National Book Award, A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcy Little Badger brings together stories from two different worlds. Nina, a Lipan Apache girl in Texas who is a budding documentary filmmaker and whose ancestors have healing powers, and Oli, a cottonmouth snake from the reflecting world. Oli comes to Earth to find a cure for his sick friend and meets Nina. What will happen when the two worlds collide? In Everything You Wanted to Know About Indians But Were Afraid to Ask, Ojibwe professor Anton Troyer answers nearly 200 questions about the practices, perspectives, and politics of Native life, from Columbus to the Dakota Access Pipeline. This is a book that will satisfy your curious mind and point you toward even more resources about North America's indigenous people. Christian Allaire was fashion-obsessed as an Ojibwe teen, so it's not a surprise that he is now a fashion and style writer for Vogue. In The Power of Style, Allaire explores representation and reclamation through the lens of fashion, from ribbon work by indigenous designers to the intersection of race and hairstyle to cosplay and drag. This book highlights a variety of cultures and gender expressions. Now let's take a look at some new and noteworthy books for adult readers. At the center of Calling for a Blanket Dance by Oscar Hoquia is Ever, a man of Kiowa, Cherokee, and Mexican heritage. Each chapter in this book features a different narrator from Ever's family, sharing a story about Ever's life, from a traumatic event in his infancy to the healing he experiences in adulthood. The short stories in Chelsea T. Hicks' debut collection, A Calm and Normal Heart, feature contemporary young Native characters from Oklahoma to California as they navigate love, relationships, generational trauma, cultural identity, and the connection to their ancestors. This collection is full of humor, joy, imagination, and emotion. Set in 1926, Margaret Verbals' When Two Feathers Fell from the Sky follows Two Feathers, a Cherokee woman performing as a horse diver at Glendale Park Zoo in Nashville, when a tragic accident releases the vengeful ghost of an indigenous man who died on the property. Two Feathers must solve the mysteries that haunt the park. Dog Flowers is Danielle Geller's memoir of her mother, Maureen Tweedy Lee, in the wake of her tragic death. Geller's skill as a librarian and archivist helps her piece together her mother's life through the documents, diaries, and photographs she left behind. Full of emotional highs and lows, this is the story of a woman who grew up on a Navajo reservation and struggled to survive through addiction and difficult relationships. To explore a different side of life, check out New Native Kitchen by Freddie Bitsui and James O. Fraioli. This book includes modern interpretations of 100 recipes from a variety of Native cultures across America. From cherry stone clam soup to chocolate bison chili, learn to make these delicious Native dishes. In addition to books, the Gwinnett County Public Library collection features access to a number of acclaimed films. We'd like to share 3 that feature Native stories and creators. Available in our catalog on DVD, To Us the Ashes is a collection of 5 indigenous documentary shorts, from fly fishing conservationists in the Pacific Northwest to a young Lakota woman creating a girls' boxing team to stories exploring the toll of climate change. These short films highlight the resilience of Native communities. These next 2 films are available to stream on Kanopy for free with your library card at gwinnettpl.kanopy.com or on the Kanopy app. First, we have Gather, a critically acclaimed documentary about Native American efforts across America to reclaim ancestral foodways and achieve food sovereignty. Produced with Native American journalists, this documentary features an Apache restaurateur, Lakota bison workers, Yurok salmon fishers, and Apache farmers. Also available on Kanopy is Rumble, The Indians Who Rocked the World, a documentary about the influence of indigenous musicians on the development of rock music in Canada and the US. A film festival favorite, Rumble profiles notable Native musicians and features commentary from many familiar faces in the music industry. Thanks for watching Part 2. If you'd like some great picture book and kids recommendations for Native American Heritage Month, be sure to check out Part 1.